Thank you for joining us again for another episode from the Football Fan Zone. It's been another interesting weekend of Premier League action. We had the North London Derby. We had Chelsea going away to Aston Villa, Liverpool going away to West Ham, and a whole lot more to talk about. So today we have a special guest joining us. The Arsenal fan, Big Santi, is joining us. My guy, how are you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, glad to have you here to join us, to talk all things Arsenal. I know you're buzzing. Your fellow Gunnar is also here. Chooks, the proud Gunnar. How you doing, Chooks?
Waka, waka, 60 million down the drain. Can't have us cause again. That's how I'm feeling, man.
All right. We also have Uzo, the sports fan, also joining us. Uzo, how are you feeling? Have you recovered fully from the derby defeat?
Yeah, it was a tough one to take, but we move.
Yeah, we move. Life goes on. Yeah, there's more to life than football. All right, the Adams is also here. The Adams, Chelsea fan, how are you doing? The Adams?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I was hoping that Spurs could do us a favor, but Spurs did their thing. They did the Spurs thing.
What did this game have to do with you, brother?
Nah, could do us London.
What is this guy talking?
You're not even playing for anything. I don't get it. Eight Watchers Association.
Yeah. What were you gonna do with the result?
All right, guys. All right. So there's only one place to start from our review. The big game of the weekend, the North London Derby, Arsenal and Tottenham 2, Arsenal 3. A good result for Arsenal solidifies their position of, should I say, their hopes of ending their 20-year wait for the Premier League title. So let me come to the Arsenal fans in the house. Let me start with you, the special guest, Big Santi. I don't know if you saw the game, and if you did, what was the takeaway from the game, and what do you think? What are your hopes for Arsenal for in terms of like the remaining games of the season?
I mean, I missed first 30 minutes of the game because I worked all night, and I was hoping to wake up for the game, and I woke up 30 minutes into the game, 2-0 up already. So, but from when I tuned in, I think Spurs are one of the best teams in the league when it comes to playing highline this season. They're so good with it, and even when they came to the Emirates earlier on in the season, they had the lion's share of possession. And if there's one thing that this Arsenal team has learned over the time, I think we've learned to know when to, go for the possession, controlling the game, keeping the ball, and when to give the ball to our opponents and just eat them on the counter. Last season, we came up against Pep City 3 times. We had the highest share of the possession on both 3 occasions, and we lost. Right. And this season, we've been a little bit pragmatic with our approach against City, against the best possession-based teams in the league, and we've gotten our results. So for me, from the game, I think it was a very mature display. Bar that mistake from Raya, it was a very solid performance from us. But you can't be making such of mistakes in a derby game. Be it Fulham, any team, especially in the Premier League, if you're making that kind of mistake away from home, and the Spurs fans already left the stadium. And after that mistake, the first goal came in, and they had to return back to the stadium to cheer the team on. And from there, we lost control of the game completely. So we put ourselves under unnecessary pressure. And for me, I think we're lucky to come out of that game with 3-2 win, because we were under pressure for like 25 minutes and couldn't really respond going forward. We had to defend the 3 goals. And I'm happy it was a derby win, not London derby. I mean, but for the remainder of the season, do I see City dropping points? I'm not 100% certain, and I'm not even 80% confident they're going to drop points. But all we have to do is, win our remaining games and just hope Spurs do us a favor. Even though I think they'll go into that game, hoping to concede 10 goals and just let City win the league rather than, seeing us win the whole thing. But at the end of the day, I'm happy Villa lost yesterday. Villa didn't win yesterday. Yeah, they drew, and Spurs lost today. So they still have that slim hope of playing for Champions League football when City comes to town. So hopefully they do us a favor there. We win our remaining games. Aside that, I don't really see City dropping points, honest to God. This me being honest, even though I have that slim hope elsewhere, like I hope they do it, I hope they do, but I don't really see them dropping it. But whatever happens from now to the end of the season, be it whether we win it or not, I'm really proud of the team because this second half of the season, especially, we've only lost one game, drew one game. Yeah, we'll still find ourselves trailing. So that's how perfect you need to be to beat City to the league. So yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool. Let me bring Chooks in also, the Arsenal fan in the house. Chooks, what was your take on the North London derby? And
oh man, me, I'm not as grateful as Santi. How do you guys like your chicken? Do you like it sauteed? Do you like it grilled? Do you like it on the ball? Huh?
anyone?
Hey, that first half was the kind of performance I needed at 3-point lane. You go there, you give them the ball and expect them to, expect the Lily Whites to think that they have hope. And we saw it again. Big game players like Kai Havertz, goal and assist. Same Uzo that was telling me he's not a good player. He's banged 3 goals in his last 2 games. Mind you, the whole of London needs to respect us. Went to West Ham 6, went to Palace 4, went to Chelsea 5, and now we've given Tottenham 3.
You didn't come to Chelsea 5.
What color is London? What color is London, Adams? London is red. I don't care how that second half went. I'm just happy we got out of there with the 3 points. It made the game more exciting than it should have been. I didn't want to just watch a dead second half. So, Adams told me if Arsenal is good, we should give Tottenham some goals. And we did that, and we saw they couldn't see it out. I also saw a lot of Spurs. Santi, I don't know if you saw it, a lot of Spurs fans were shouting that they got robbed by the ref.
Bro, I mean, see,
I don't know why that is. They ended up getting a penalty at the end. The other ones they were crying for didn't look like anything. If you're trying to win a game, just score some legal goals, innit?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's my own thought on the match. I don't want to think too much about City. I'm going to enjoy this result. I've already watched the highlight like 6 times. After this podcast, I'm going to watch it another 10 times. I'm going to ask these results. And I don't care about City right now. They should do what they do. Worry about that next week.
Yeah, I understand. I think I've been there. I think you can only just do your bit and hope City somehow falters along the way. Uzo, let me bring you in, the Tottenham fan. Uzo, let me bring you in this way, right? So I think going into the game and looking at how the season has panned out, I think Arsenal has been like the highest goal scorers from set pieces this season. It's always been highlighted that Arsenal are good when it comes to set pieces. And then there's been this mention as a Spurs fan, I'm sure you must have seen it, that Tottenham are a bit susceptible. Even before this game, they're a bit susceptible to set pieces, especially the goalkeeper. That's a Vicario. He's not the assertive one when it comes to out of his box to claim like all those free kicks or set pieces in the air. So how do you think what's his name now, your coach and Postecoglou did not kind of like do his homework in terms of that particular area of the game, and it sort of like cost Tottenham kind of like 3 points today? What are your thoughts on that?
In all honesty, I think if I listened to his press conference, I think in his opinion, and I tend to agree as well, it was more than just set pieces. We didn't lose directly because we can't like handle set pieces. The first set piece was our own goal. It wasn't like it was one of those where like the goalie's being impeded and we didn't know how to deal with it. It's just a bad player who we're going to be getting rid of soon, just overcompensating for his lack of athleticism and deciding to head the ball into his own net. So that you can't really legislate for that type of stuff. There's no amount of practice work you can do on the field that will ever prevent Højbjerg from being slow, panicky, and doing dumb shit on the field. So that's not something that I look at the coach for. But in all honesty, the set piece thing has kind of ruined our season. What I was even more upset about was the way we went out in the FA Cup, because I thought that we played City for large parts of that game until the 80-something minute. It was a cagey game. We know they struggle to score in our home, and I thought maybe we can at least push for a replay and extend our cup season, because we've been going out in the cups really early. And you saw in that game, I think it was this Stones or Akanji, or it might have been Ake. I don't know.
Yeah, it was Nathan Ake. Yes.
Yeah, just silly set piece goal to concede. We come back the next 2 weeks. Everton dunked 2 goals on us from set pieces. We dropped points in that game, and it's been a recurring theme. And I don't look at the goalkeeper as much, even though I think he should have more command of his box. And I think that's something, like when you look on the other end, you saw the way that Raya was able to claim cross after cross after cross after cross, and he just stifles attacks, takes the sting out of, when a team is having wave after wave of attack, the best thing you can do is claim that cross, give your team a chance to regroup and build out of the back. And that's something that we haven't really seen Vicario do throughout the season. But I think it's more on the set piece coaches, because like you can tell the players are unaware of where to be, what to do, who to mark. And like when you see someone obstructing your goalkeeper, like most players are taught, like you have to go get in between that guy, like try to shove him off, try to cut him off, like do something, practice something. And it just doesn't look like we practice anything when it comes to set pieces. So yeah, that's obviously frustrating. But on the game as a whole, I think there's 3 perspectives to it, right? So there's the Arsenal perspective, which I understand where they'd be coming from. This game was all about 3 points for them. No, derbies in general are all about who wins, right? No one cares about the performance. No one cares who had the better chances. No one cares who had any unfair decisions go against them, especially in the NLD. You're not supposed to really care anyways. And with the stakes that they're going for the league title, they're trying to end a 20-year drought. They definitely should be taking those 3 points, and they should be confident going into the rest of their fixtures. And honestly, if I was an Arsenal fan, which thankfully I'm not, I'd be looking at the last few fixtures like, I think we can possibly go in there and do something against City, because I don't think City's fixtures are now the easiest remaining fixtures. You know what I mean? Like, whereas like before the Chelsea Arsenal run, you could say, okay, Arsenal had the harder run in, but from this point forward, City have the harder run in. For one, they have more games, and I think they have more away games as well, because Bournemouth is at home. I believe Everton is at home as well, and Everton are already safe. They're going to be playing for nothing. So right now, Arsenal only have 0.5 hard fixtures left, which is United. And let's be real, that's not really going to be a challenge. So yeah, they should take a lot of confidence from it. But from a Spurs perspective, it's our job to analyze why the game went wrong. And half of it for me is on the manager. I think the personnel was bad. I don't think Højbjerg should have started that game. I think we should have had Sarr in there. And he's done this thing where he dropped Sarr out of nowhere, right? Like Sarr didn't have any bad performances at all season, but he dropped him out of nowhere because he has this dream of playing Bentancur and Bissouma in a pivot. And he just thinks like because of their ability on the ball, it can be a really good midfield. It hasn't worked out. The reality is Bissouma is a very unreliable, inconsistent player. Bentancur is coming off of an injury and he hasn't looked himself. And so objectively speaking, our best midfielder this season has been Pape Matar Sarr. And for some weird reason, he's not been in any of the lineups in the last 2 or 3 games. And it's actually a weird stat. Our winning percentage with Sarr in the team, astronomical. Without him in the team, terrible. And it's because he's the only one that has the athleticism to get around the pitch. The way we play is so open. We allow the opposition to get chances, to counter, to transition. And the only person that can actually get around the pitch, try to create interceptions, help us when we're struggling, besides our backline, is Pape Matar Sarr. And you can see like the limitations that Højbjerg has, the limitations that Ben Davies has. Lord, that 1v1 against Saka, I just knew it was a goal. Like I didn't even, you could have woke me up 10 hours from now and said, hey, did you know? Yeah, I know he scored. Of course he scored. Ben Davies is not a great defender. So, it just is what it is. But the last thing I'll say is, I think that refereeing did play a part, and that's the other half of it. And I'm sorry, I just think that in the lead up to their second goal, I think we had a legitimate claim for a penalty. And all of the pundits, even in the review during halftime, said they thought it was a penalty. The commentator at the time said he thought it was a penalty. And you can see Kulusevski trying to stay up, but literally tumbling over because he got tripped. And my thing is, I've seen those kind of penalties given for other teams. Now, we only have 2 penalties on the entire season, despite having either second or first most touches in the opposition box. So there's a weird thing where I know our players aren't good enough to beat their man, so maybe that's why we don't get a lot of penalties. But when I see that and it directly leads to a goal on the other end, I just feel like it compounds the problem even more, because it's like, not only did we get denied a penalty on one end, it ends up leading to us conceding because we didn't turn the ball over and pretty much game, set, match from that point. So it's very frustrating. I know that the standard of refereeing in this league has been called into question time and time again. And for me, I can't help but feel like between the manager and the mistakes that he made and those key decisions that happen at the worst times in the game, I leave there not feeling good about the result, because I don't think that we deserve to leave there with 0 points, maybe 1 at the least. But it is what it is. You got to take it on the chin. And I'm a United fan for the rest of the season. Let's see what they got for me.
All right, mate. All right. Let me bring in the Adams in here. The Adams as a neutral in this title race. Let me get your perspective on the title race, right? So now we know that it's now Arsenal versus Man City for the Premier League title this season. I'm a Liverpool fan. It pains me to say, but we're falling off. So yeah, I also have to take that on the chin as well. So Adams, from your view, right? We saw Man City today against Nottingham Forest. I don't know if you saw the game. I actually watched the 90 minutes of that game, and I felt City kind of like the scoreline kind of like flattered them in a way, because Nottingham Forest give a good goal. If only they took their chances, could have had a different result. But all that being said, City at the end of the day, as champions always do, found a way to win, right? So we have them 1 point behind Arsenal and a game in hand. And coming out of that game, as a neutral and as an Arsenal fan, you're looking at City and you're like, there's always that inevitability about them. They will always find a way. They're not playing well. They will find a way to win. And I think that's something that Arsenal has also kind of like imbibed into their culture, especially these past 2 seasons. It's not all about playing free-flowing liquid football. There are times that on the day it's not just working out for you, but you still find a way to win.
Yeah.
You still find a way to grind out that result. So looking at the title race now, I know you're a Chelsea fan, and it's not hitting your intention or your aspirations that you don't want Arsenal to win.
But no, I've been fair though. But I've been fair.
You've been fair, yeah. You've tried to be as objective as you can, right? So are you also a Man United fan going into these last 3 games? Or from your point of view, where do you see the title race going?
Yeah, that's a very difficult question. I don't think anybody can conclusively answer that right now. Arsenal have played like champions. I think we saw what they did today. The first half was it was just world class to me. I know it kind of flattered them a little because Tottenham played well, but like you said, you have to take those moments. You have to seize those moments. Those chances came to them, and they took those chances, and they shut it up. Like they locked shop immediately after that. But the second half, obviously, a mistake happened. But I think Arsenal of last season would have probably considered that third goal, and that'd been a draw. So for them to be able to be mentally alert, to stay in the game, and dig in deep in what is a very hostile environment for them, to be able to go away with that win, I think is massive. And for me, Arsenal are top right now. I don't care the game in hand, whatever. As long as you don't have the points, you don't have the points. So that's how I see it. So for me, I think Arsenal have the upper hand. They are top of the league, the way I see it. They are top of the league. City have to still go and win their game before you can make them top. So obviously we know City's history is well documented. You'd be a fool to write them off. I'm not writing them off. I know, I expect them to win all the games. But right now, I think it's in Arsenal's hand, because in my own opinion, I think they're top of the league. So yeah.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. And I think right now, looking as a Liverpool fan, I think analyzing the season and going through everything I've seen, I think Arsenal deserve to win the Premier League, but deserve to win the Premier League and win the Premier League are two different things. Like as a Liverpool fan, right? I'm sure there are those two seasons where we finished just 1 point behind Man City. I'm sure there was one of those seasons where we felt like we were. I think we lost just one game, one of those particular seasons, and then City lost maybe 4 or 5 games. But
You drew a lot of games.
Yeah. So they still finished 1 point ahead of us. So it's I can only imagine the fear Arsenal fans will have now. Having this amazing run. I think highest number of goals scored and then least conceded and then still finish second in the league.
I think we see. Sorry, Adams. I think we still have ourselves to blame at some point because if we will now have to look back to games against Fulham when we had 1 out of possible 6 points, against Villa where we had 0 out of possible 6 points. Chelsea, 4 out of possible 6 points because I believe we should be beating Chelsea home and away right now. And which other game? Newcastle, 4 out of possible 6 points. So if we had managed to win that one game, no, it's not funny, right? Oh, when was the last time? So right now, 4 points against Chelsea in the Premier League season is not enough. It's not good enough for Arsenal. That's the fact.
Bro, I'm sure that's not a sports fan laughing. I'm sure that's not a sports fan laughing. When your 3 points lane, you collected 4.
Wasn't expecting it. Wasn't expecting to hear his team. Please God.
I was like, why me? Why do you say F me for? Like,
but I mean, it's the truth. Honestly, it's the truth. But a lot of Arsenal fans will probably look at that Aston Villa game we lost, was it last week or 2 weeks ago, as the reason why we didn't win the league. For me, it's been a perfect 2024, and losing one game in 2024 is not really a bad thing for me. I know the circumstance surrounding it, but if you look back at the first half of the season, I think if we don't win the league, that's where we lost the league, not the second half of the season.
Chooks, you want to add something to?
Yeah, I mean, this team, all they can give me is win the next few games. That's all. Whether we win the league or we don't win the league is been an excellent campaign for us. And you can see this
a week mix in sports.
Yeah, and you can see the boys. The boys are growing. The first thing Saka said in his post-game interview, he was like, Arsenal last year don't win this game. And it's been that way for a few of the games. And hopefully, we learn from the Villa experience. I mean, Santi is right. 1 game loss in 2024. And we're still shaking. Just because everyone just feels like City is going to win the next 4 games. And the league shouldn't be that way, but you almost have to go perfect. So hopefully, deep down, I'm hoping maybe if City win the league, Pep goes and his protege can champion.
Bro, you need to leave us alone, man. You need to leave us alone.
Protege can.
Guys, Arsenal fans, I want to get your perspective on Kai Havertz, right? So he's the.
That's not show, man.
I just can't hold on just before we leave. Kai Havertz, right? Okay, so there's this scenario I have in my head, right? So if what's it called now? If Arsenal wins the Premier League this season, right? I'm sure there will be the talk that Kai Havertz was pivotal, played the pivotal role in Arsenal winning the Premier League, right?
100%.
Yeah, and then, but the flip side of it is if Arsenal doesn't win the league, right? There is this. I know, was it sometime last week where they were saying, Kai Havertz numbers is not so different from Jackson's numbers.
Friends, a week mix in sports.
So if, for instance, Arsenal does not win the league, would people saying, the investment of Kai Havertz was not justified? Would they be
before anybody goes, you can't isolate Jackson's numbers and Havertz's numbers, please. You have to add context to it.
Okay, give us the context.
Look at the goals Havertz is scoring and the impact. Not the dead hat trick Tottenham gave Jackson to boost his numbers. I'm even one of many fans now that is even thinking we shouldn't go out there and spend ridiculous money on a striker when we can go out there and probably get
I'll remember this day.
80, 90 million winger. Because right now, between Trossard and Martinelli, I don't know who I'm trusting next season to start games for me. Both players look like they are just impact players. So imagine you can solve that problem as opposed to going out to go get a striker. Because how much difference will, let's say, Osimhen or guy that plays for Sporting make? I don't know who else is out there too. But I mean, he's been immense. Like this stretch in 2024, what more can you ask from him? I think the last 10 games, I don't know what the GA is, but he's contributing. He's scoring goals, he's getting assists, he's playing, he's available. Jesus will be injured in the running. Eddie won't have any impact. At least this guy is fit. He plays 90 minutes and he has impact. And to be honest, that would have been enough for me. But he's also scoring goals. And then he also has that little, celebrating against Chelsea. The tweets he tweeted out there.
He has that spiky.
Yeah, he has that like character that you just want in your player. So there's not much. I know Chelsea fans are salty because he's doing well. They would have been happy if he was like Mount that has mounted himself in United and is not doing anything. man, no Mount for United. But we haven't him.
I was saying, I think it's Arteta, man. I think it's Arteta. Chooks, I think it's Arteta, man. Because your players are good, but I don't think they're as good as advertised. Arteta is just incredible, man. I watched Havertz for however long he was here. I was a huge fan of him. I wanted him before he came. I knew the limitations in his game. But, man, I just feel like there's another level to his game since he has been at Arsenal. He's more dependable. Like he's obviously he's always been available throughout his career, but there's just something different about him, and I just think Arteta is the one that I don't see that happening anywhere else. Arteta, I feel like he brings the best out of players.
Yeah, and sorry, Big Santi, you want to
say? Yeah. I mean, for me, it came in, and our first competitive game of the season was against City. He played up front, and it was really good. I know he missed a couple of chances, but it was really good in that game. His hold-up play, was very, very good. And ever since then, Arteta moved him back to midfield. I know Partey was injured, but Jorginho was available. Right? You could have played Jorginho and Rice together in midfield with Odegaard. But he was, insisting on that Havertz midfield, whatever was going on, in there. And it was clear as day. You don't need to be a football manager to see that Havertz up front was performing better than him in the midfield. So I don't think the problem was Havertz first half of the season. I think the problem was Arteta and his stubbornness. So he was persisting with playing him in the midfield, and it wasn't really working. If you're playing in midfield, people expect a lot from you. Rather than if you're playing up front, you can get away with a lot of things. So far, you're contributing to goals and assists up front. But if you're playing in midfield, they expect you to create chances. They expect you to win your draws, defensive duties, a lot more. And he wasn't really doing that in midfield, except the draw part where he wins a lot of his draws. But he wasn't creating chances, wasn't even providing assists or goals or whatever. But, Arteta was persisting, and come the second half of the season, first game of the year against Liverpool in the FA Cup, he played him up front. It was impressive. We lost the game, but it was impressive that game. And it's, kept it up since then. And even Jorginho back in midfield, then I said Jorginho offers at least 80% of what Partey offers us in midfield. Gives you control, gives you those line-breaking passes, everything Declan Rice lacks on the ball. Jorginho and Partey offers them. So I don't get why Arteta was benching Jorginho and, but for me, Havertz's form right now, I'm not confident it's permanent yet. I want him to succeed at this club. I know he's been very, very good the second half of the season, but I don't think he's that good yet where we have to go into the summer without getting a striker. Like, it's a very big gamble. If you want to take that gamble and say, okay, Havertz is good up front now, then we're going into the summer, coming out of it, we're not getting a striker. And we resume next season, and Havertz is not giving us this number, then there's a problem. I've never been an advocate of get a goal scoring striker, because last season without a goal scoring striker, we had our highest goal scoring campaign in Premier League history with 88 goals. And this season as well, I think we're on course to break that record, if I'm not wrong, without a goal scoring striker. Yeah, without a goal scoring striker. And we've seen Liverpool do it over years without having a goal scoring striker. In fact, the problem started when Liverpool got a goal scoring striker in Darwin Núñez. Yeah, exactly. I don't know if that's coincidence or whatever, but their problem started the moment they moved away from the front three of Firmino, Salah, and Mane. So as long as the team is scoring, I don't care about golden boot race and all of those nonsense. What is important the most is we having a goal scoring striker. We scoring the goals. I don't care who scores them. City have Haaland. City got Haaland last season, and the season before they scored more goals than they scored last season with Haaland. And this season we've scored more goals, without having that goal scoring striker team in our team, more than City or more than any other club in the league. But I've seen some games this season whereby I look at those games and I said, maybe if we had a goal scoring striker in this game, we could have won the game, because what they give you is moments. You don't need to, put it for them on a plate. They have killer instincts, if that makes sense. You don't need Martinelli, you have to put it on the plate for him. Trossard, you have to put it on the plate for him. Saka, most of the times as well, he needs to be in the box before, he scores his goals and everything. But these strikers are Osimhen, Gyökeres, and Haaland. When they have the ball, their first instinct is to go for the goal. But every players we have in the team, I think that's like a secondary thing for them. Do you get? So our system has permitted us to, score goals regardless of having a goal scoring striker or not. But in some games, we need this kind of players. And I'm really open to getting one. And I don't think Havertz, I'm not saying he's going to drop off, but to go into that summer and come out of it without a goal scoring, without a proper striker, a proper number 9, I'm not so sure about that.
I mean, I feel like a better question would be, if you were Edu and they are giving you money to sign one position, a world class player in one position, would you rather go sign a striker or would you rather go sign a winger?
Nah, I think I'll sign a world-class striker. I'll sign a decent winger who can play on both sides of the wing. Someone who can come in for Saka to get some ready. He's played a lot of games. I saw his interview yesterday where he was saying Arteta told him for him to be a top player, he needs to play 60 to 70 games every season. And that sounded like gaslighting to me, honestly. It sounded like child grooming. At such a very young age, you're telling him you need to play 60. He's programmed him to believe that. I mean, he's very, very young and he's played a lot of games.
Yeah, it catches up to him. I think it catches up to him if he continues this.
Exactly my fear. That's my fear, honestly. And we saw this season where people are making, limping comes of him. They think, I don't know if they genuinely believe he's pretending in games. They say after dropping stinkers, he limps.
There might be that might be part of it though.
Bro, Saka gets killed every single game. Every single game. He gets killed. In that Bayern game, Alphonso Davies was on his ankle all game. So if he gets up like that and starts limping, it's because he's being fouled all game. I don't think any professional footballer out there.
The star boy, of course. Yeah. So I just, in order not to run the risk of, just using the show to just Arsenal. My final question on Arsenal before we move on, right? From Arsenal. So Chooks and Big Santi, right? So if you guys eventually win the Premier League this season, right? I'm sure your target would be, okay, let's go maybe one step further and then end our Champions League like who do. So in terms of doing that, right? So what do you think Arteta needs to do going into next season?
Let them win the league first before you ask them this one now. Let them win league first.
If you're good, you're good. I mean, he's already seeing the potential of we having the ability to win the Champions. I believe we could have won in this season. I believe we're that good. But at the end of the day, there's something they call European heritage came into play. Again, yeah, I mean, I can't lie, we don't have that. Arsenal in Europe, nah. Against Bayern, for me, I think it was individual brilliance. Kimmich, even if he didn't get a goal that game, was absolutely, good in that game. And at the end of the day, he punished us. And maybe I think experience came into play as well. We just folded under pressure in that particular game. It is what it is. I believe they learn from it and take it into next season.
All right. Away from Arsenal, I can only wish you guys well in your remaining games of the season as you go for the title. I know someone.
Yeah, we'll take it.
We sound like no, and we don't wish them well.
All I will say, if we win that title, Adams, you cannot bring me back to this show because I will terrorize everybody here. Don't let us win that title. That's all I'll say, Adams. I'll be in that room you are in with you. We'll sit down together and we'll record one episode.
Adams and Uzom, we're still going to come to Chelsea and Tottenham. But for now, let's switch over to Liverpool. I'm a Liverpool fan, and I've not been on the show for.
They've been waiting for this moment.
I have a question for you, but yeah, go on.
Yes. So, I want you guys to jump in on the Liverpool.
No. Pius, there's no just stay as you are. Well, we'll start with Santi. All of us are going to ask you questions. And
No,
you are not hosting the Liverpool section.
Hold on first. No.
Interesting is me. Before we come to the main course.
Let me gonna make my point.
Okay.
Guys, go.
Pius.
All right. Okay. All right.
I don't think sports fans should be cooking anybody.
I'm cooking. You have to think it.
I'm humble because, hey,
Bro, you're in the top 4 race to Aston Villa, man. Have some shame.
And Facebook, they said Ateta finished 8 back to back, so we're allowed to finish 8 for the next 2 years. Don't worry.
Okay.
We're cooking. See, I'm going to cook.
Please calm down. Okay. Just
Calm down. This pent up aggression from 2 weeks. You've been ducking smoke. There's no calm.
Okay. All right.
Let me in.
You're on the floor.
Pius, I don't have any questions for you. I just want to tell you the facts. Because I predicted on this show, right from the beginning of the season, I said, Sean Dyche will have something for you boys. I said that this sport doesn't love you like that. Remember I told you that? I told you that, Pius. I said, this sport does not love you like that. There's no fairy tale endings. There's no fairy tale goodbyes. There's no, oh, wow, Klopp deserves more. I remember OOP said that. I said, Klopp doesn't deserve shit. He deserves what he got. All that he got is what he deserves. He's a career bridesmaid. This guy is a nearly man. This guy is a guy that shows up, wine and dine the babe, take her home. She'll say, don't worry, tomorrow we'll do it. He'll be leaving the house. He will hear somebody else in there doing the thing that he wants to do. That's who your coach is. Go back to Dortmund. Go back to any phase of his career. He always gets close, but he's never quite there. A great wise man and a football legend once said, it's the history of the Tottenham. This is the history of the Jurgen Klopp. I love the way he's going out because he's going out exactly how he always has been. He's always been a nearly man. And honestly, you can say, okay, like Liverpool were hard done by to lose out on the league by 1 or 2 points on 3 or 4 occasions. But if you go back to every single one of those seasons, even as recent as the last season where you lost the title on the final day with the comeback at Villa for City, you had a chance to be in the driving seat in that title race against us. And we were really, really poor. Do you remember who equalized against you guys? Exactly. This was a game at Anfield. You've beaten us there every single season. Every time you guys absolutely need the result, you turn into chickens. And now all of a sudden, having never lost at Goodison Park throughout his entire career, conveniently picks this time to lose at Goodison Park and take himself out of the title race. I just think that this guy, fair play. He won every single trophy that he's competed for. And that's not something that's easy to do, especially as a Spurs fan. What the hell do I know about trophies? But when it comes to sitting him at the seat or at the penchant of the great managers that have coached in this league, let's stop that right now. I don't think this guy is on the Mount Rushmore of the league. Of course, he's a great manager. And he's probably Liverpool's greatest Premier League era manager, but he's not at the level of a Fergie. He's not at the level of Pep. Stop that rivalry rubbish. It's only a rivalry if you get one, the next person gets one. Like how Wenger and Fergie used to trade back in the day, or how Mourinho came in, he got his two, then he got another one. That's what you call a rivalry. A rivalry is not, oh, you got one lucky one where Pep didn't have a center back, and then he's beat your ass every single season since then. You've been following this guy around, carrying his briefcase.
I have to step in and moderate.
That was the one was without fans. So as
no fans, Pep was the starting center back for City. The next closest contender was Man United on their own. Like, come on, man, that doesn't count.
Please, Adam,
I
need my own minutes.
No, go ahead.
You get 30 seconds. 30 seconds.
This is the history of your coach. You know, when he first came in, you were losing final after final after final. This is just what he does.
Okay, all right. So you've had your point on let me come to Big Santi. Big Santi, what has been your thoughts on the Jurgen Klopp and Liverpool story? 9 years.
I mean, seeing a sports fan crash down on him like that, I can understand. They've never been in a title race with City. So, yeah, fair enough.
Title race is now a trophy to some guys. I'm just saying,
not your time. Let's Big Santi.
Is that a sports fan talking about trophies? Bro, hey, I don't want to go there. But yeah, I mean, Pep to the rest of the managers in football world, every single one of them is like a tier above them, 2 tiers above many of them. And I've been saying something about even Alex Ferguson himself. If Alex Ferguson is still around in today's game, Pep would dog walk him. I'm 100% certain about that. A few weeks ago, so I watched the 2011 Champions League final. And I was looking at the press, the Manchester United press in that final, and I was shaking my head. Bro, how far ahead Pep was in 2011 to the rest of the world? Doesn't make sense. It completely makes sense why he was winning every single trophies available then. Because the press was so disorganized, disoriented, everybody was just running around like headless chicken. And in today's, I think Pep has destroyed football to some extent. Like, it's so much robotic now, and I don't think those coaches in the past will be able to cope with what's happening right now, because now you have to give your players loads of informations, what you have to do in certain positions, what you have to do, what you can't do in some positions. And I can't really blame Klopp, if we're keeping it 100, like keeping it a buck. I can't blame him. He tried his best. He's the only coach in the Premier League that has gone toe-to-toe with Pep since he came to the league for me. I mean, I think Conte also did as well at one point, but consistently, it's only been Klopp. And he won that title in 2020. I know people want to discredit him and say, oh, it was a COVID title or whatever. But COVID or not, Liverpool were going to win the league anyways.
20 points ahead already, even before.
Yeah, before lockdown, 20 points ahead of everybody already.
They just say all those ones for copium.
Yeah, I mean, and it wasn't like the remaining 19 teams in the league were being plagued with COVID and Liverpool was spared.
Exactly.
No, but we're right to say that it's different, though. There were no fans in the stadium. Anything could have happened.
Bro,
we don't know.
Even now, Adams be real.
Nothing would have happened.
Bro, how many?
Pep is a miracle worker.
Bro, we don't know what could have happened.
Now, I have a theory, right? Half of Chelsea's Champions League knockout stage, then fans were not in the stadium.
Exactly. When they won,
so can we call that a COVID Champions League trophy as well?
That wasn't the COVID Champions League. The COVID Champions League was the one.
Let me make a point to you. Let me give you an instance, right? Atletico Madrid has never lost a Champions League knockout game at Wanda Metropolitan, or what was that stadium called? Now, you beat them that year, but they didn't play the game at their stadium. It was on a neutral ground, and the reason why it was played on a neutral stadium was because there was COVID. Right? Now, if we're bringing that contest into it, can we call your trophy a COVID title?
No, you can't.
Exactly. So leave club alone.
But also, if the Spurs fan can't talk about trophies, I know Arsenal fan can't talk about trophies.
Exactly.
So let's be consistent here. That's what I'm saying. Let's be consistent. If I can't speak on club, I don't know why Santi is allowed to speak on Chico and his Champions League victories.
But Pius, man, you guys did well that COVID year, but there were no fans for how many games?
Wait, how many games? How many games were played before COVID came in?
I don't know how many.
You guys have amnesia.
COVID came in.
We don't remember.
COVID came in. No lie with. I mean,
I was the rival.
You can't come back and rewrite.
That's the thing. That's the best day to come on the show.
There's a reason Pius asked Santi instead of Chief.
Yeah.
but
Santi has an image to uphold. Santi has an image to uphold. We don't have an image. You want to cook. The boys are hungry.
If club didn't win that title, Manchester City will be on course to win their 5th league title on the bounce. Same thing Bayern Munich has been doing in Germany. Same thing PSG has been doing, in France.
Come on.
I'll give him his credit. Should they have done better? 100%. But no, we are applying context to it. Let's be real. See, I wouldn't say this before last season, honest to God. But after last season, I discovered how perfect you need to be to beat City to a league title. It's crazy. Years ago, before Pep came to the league, I think the average points you need to have to win the league, on average, is about 80 to 85 points. Now, if you're not getting 90 points in the league, bro, forget about it. And on 2 occasions, I think Liverpool had 99 points. 97, City had 98. How crazy is that? That with 97 points, you can't still win the league.
But you know the thing is, football is not going to be kind to club. It's not.
Yeah, I know that, man. But if
it won't.
History won't be
nobody's going to, especially the way we view football now, with achievements and stats and all those things.
Yeah,
nobody's going to go back to look for the context and say, do you know that
if we use context for every manager, then every manager has the things that they could have and should have won.
Yeah, okay, so
that's why
context for Spurs. Why have you not won a league title in how many years? Put some context there.
The funny thing is, I'm gonna let you head out. It's a good comeback.
Pius, let's go.
Wait. They actually can be context. I'm not gonna get into it because I don't care about excuses. Because when we were the ones that were getting near the league, guys were telling me that it doesn't matter how close you get if you don't win it. That's all I kept hearing was no one cares about your excuses. No one cares that you're the youngest team in the league. No one cares that you don't outspend the opposition. People only care about results. And it's so convenient that now that other managers are suffering because someone has come into this league and has really made everybody feel like the chickens that they are. Now, all of a sudden, context matters. And now, all of a sudden, football is about the memories and about how good he made Liverpool fans feel. Fuck all that. When Poch was the one that was here with Spurs and we got close to the league, we got close to the Champions League, no one cared that we competed or that we put the pressure on. That was a thing that was used to beat that team repeatedly, saying, oh, they never get it over the line. They don't have the mentality. They bottle things. So let's just keep the same energy. Let's be consistent. That's all I'm asking. That's literally all I'm asking.
Yeah, fair point. So, Chooks hasn't said anything. I know you want to cook Liverpool as well.
Bro, you're probably never, at this stage, you're probably never going to get to Chelsea.
We don't need to.
What do you want us to talk about? The Madrid and Jackson?
Yeah, You start to call players like Buddy Hop Shield. No, don't want to hear that.
When we go,
Pius, first, before I get to your manager that you tried to sneak into top 10 all-time Prem managers that had to whiten his teeth more times than he won the Premier League. If you allow my manager to win one and he has one with club, me and you will enter the same shukutu. Secondly, in January, I told all of you, Adams is smiling there like he wasn't part of the people that was boosting this Liverpool team. All the blind witnesses out there. When you guys were 5 points ahead, and now Jamie Carragher is saying you overachieved. Overachieved what? Pius with his big teeth was smiling, saying quadruple. Quadruple has like quadruple for the Champions League. I first guessed it. This guy, I always ask, what makes Klopp any better than Mancini? What makes him any better than Pellegrini? What makes him any better than Ranieri? All these second. There's no trophy, my guy. He will finish second this season. There's no special place. You're not going to give us.
But Chooks, keep that same energy. That's the thing.
Yes, bro.
Everybody does it when it's convenient.
Nobody is calling Arteta top 5. Who's calling him top 5? Nobody's calling him top 5. They're not going to give us the club memorial with his big teeth. Second place. No, it's only one. It's only you finish first, you get the trophy. So I hope now you know not to sneak that guy. If I see him in any top 5 list, we are going to fight. Because all he has
who's
done,
your top 5, Chicks?
all he has done.
Exactly. Who's your top 5?
My top 5 is the 5 goals scored against Chelsea. Now back to you, Pius.
Jesus.
Back to you, Pius. Don't sneak that manager into any top 5 because this Pep rivalry. How many has Pep won under Klopp's watch? Tell me, Pius, how many has Pep won?
Tell us.
He's counting it. It's too many. He doesn't know. Don't sneak that guy into anywhere. He now had the nerve, the temerity to pull out a documentary. I want to see when Trossard sources Harvey Elliott in that same documentary. And he's now fighting with Salah. He's only star player fighting with him on the touchline. Now, that documentary, I can't wait. I'll have popcorn and Thai food ready.
That was a bad look, to be fair. The thing is, I think that looked worse on Salah than it did on Klopp for me. Me. I think it looked worse on Salah because I just don't think you undermine authority like that, especially in his last season. But another weird thing, right? And this is not to even pile on Liverpool fans. If you notice, like when Firmino left, a lot of the interviews that he did weren't exactly complimentary of Klopp. We already know that Mane definitely not complimentary of Klopp. It's very interesting the way a lot of these players either view or analyze his time there. And I just wonder if they really hold him in the same regard that Liverpool fans do. Because we look at Mane, Salah, Firmino and feel like Klopp made these guys, right? Like, I think a lot of us feel like they didn't do anything before Klopp and they haven't done anything after Klopp. But no, if you go look at Firmino's comments about Klopp. Go look at Firmino's comments about Klopp. They were not complimentary, and we know that Mane definitely was not complimentary about him.
If you take a step back and look at all these coaches that quote unquote made players, Ferguson, what do his players say about him?
They hold him in high. Even Mourinho, when John Terry was doing his
I just watched it.
He literally said he's still terrified of Mourinho. So I mean, it's interesting. That's all it is. I don't know where it comes from, but it's
all right, guys. Thank you.
Fire.
All right. So before we move on from the Liverpool discussion, let me just give my own final take before we move on to Chelsea.
Just set it up.
Can I ask you a question so you can include it in your? Did Liverpool bottle the league?
Who you? Santi.
Bro, you thought Santi was on your side.
What?
You thought Santi was on your side.
No, Liverpool did not bottle the league.
Pius, say
what's with the league?
No. Pius, say one lie.
Pius, let's
of time. We need to move on from Liverpool.
You 100%.
Move on. It's fine. We really do not have
about Chelsea.
You 100% bottled the league. 100%.
Let me know how.
That's at home.
Okay. So this is it, right? First of all, let's start from where Liverpool fans were talking about, Arsenal not having the experience to compete with City. How many times Liverpool has done it over the years, even though they've only won it once.
Santi, I thought you were on his side.
Nah, see that bottling allegation. You see that bottling allegation like boils my blood, and how inconsistent people are when it comes to that conversation, right? It's true that Arsenal was top for was it 248 days last season, and when the crucial time came, we folded, right? Liverpool this season has been tipped as the favorite to win the league by the bookies, by the pundits, everyone, their fans, their legends, every single person in sports believed Liverpool were going to win the league. Until a few weeks ago, Arsenal only had 13% chance to win the league. Liverpool had I think was it 38? City had 32 or 31.
Don't forget that the reason you guys even came back into the title race was because you beat them at their home. Don't forget.
Now, Liverpool has been top of the league for the major part of the season. When did they fall off? When did they fall off? When the title running started, right? You guys, in the last how many games? In the last 7 games, in the last 6 games, in the last 5 games, you've won 1 in the title running, where you're supposed to have experience. You drew to the worst Manchester United, your biggest rivals. That's when the fall off started. But for me, I think United are, much of a bigger rival to you than Everton. I know historically it's been should I call traditionally it's been Everton because you reside in the same city, but historically, Man United are much bigger rivals to you. The fall-off started against Manchester United, where you drew, and you were lucky to come back in that game because that was never a penalty to me, right? After then, the only trophy I was really confident you were going to win this season was the Europa League. You lost to a mid-table team in Serie A for the Europa League. At home, 3-0, followed by a 1-0 defeat against Crystal Palace in the title running, where you are supposed to have an experience, then crashed out of the Europa League the following week, won against Fulham, and went to Merseyside against Everton. Bro, a relegation threatening team. You lost 2-0. They've never won a game against you since 2010. Arteta was still playing for Everton. You lost to them. Now, West Ham yesterday again, you drew that game, and this has completely thrown you out of the title race. So what does bottling mean?
Pius, if you had a lawyer, this is around the time where he would say, you guys
can't do my boy like that. You guys can't do my boy like that.
You used against you.
No.
Say something.
Bro. That's everything I'll say.
No, we need Pius, defend yourself. Defend your manager.
That's everything I say about Liverpool.
No. But I want to hear why Pius thinks.
No. You're not.
Why does he think they didn't? I'm curious.
Adams, we don't want to hear about body hawks.
No, I might have a reason, to be honest.
I want to hear
Why
his perspective.
didn't ball to the league?
Go ahead first.
I don't confused already.
Why do you think you didn't ball to the league? Because okay, let me help you.
Like you mentioned, you said Arsenal were last season. You guys were on top of the table for 200 or something. I don't think we've been at the top of the table this season for an extended period of time, like the way Arsenal were last season.
No,
I don't think so.
I think you don't have to be on top of the table for 200 plus days.
And then you mentioned something that the pundits and those are just predictions.
Yeah, what bottling means, I know those are predictions. Bottling means when you have something in your hands. You're the clean favorite.
At what point did we have the league in our hands, please?
You've been top of you're 5 points clear.
Guys. It's never going to end, man. We have to move.
No. January.
Wait.
So I just wanted
So wait. So after match week 22, you had 51 points. City had 46 points. Arsenal had 46 points.
5 points in match week 22. How is that bottling?
It was the same thing with Arsenal last season.
No, it's like the top like in March.
The only time we were 8 points
Guys,
clear of the game. The only time. Wait. Listen. No, we're not moving on. Listen. The only point last season where we were 8 points clear, City had the game in hand.
And that was in which month? Please tell us the month.
Guys, let's remember. Doesn't matter. What?
Adams, we have a special guest. When you have guest pastor, the service goes on longer. Let him cook. Let him cook.
There's no cooking.
Bro, I believe Liverpool have bottled the league, honestly. There's no
Fine.
There's no way you're doing around it.
Your opinion. Like, okay, so fine. My friend.
Yeah.
Let him speak.
From quadruple to a land settlement cup.
But the only problem Pochettino has is not allowed.
Let him speak, Jukes. Let him speak.
Right. So my final take on Jurgen Klopp and Liverpool. Like I was telling Adam before we started the show, right? Of course, I'm sad at the way the season is ending for Jurgen Klopp, right? As a Liverpool fan,
Documentary.
as a Liverpool fan, and I'm sure I speak for majority of Liverpool fans. Well, like of course we hold Klopp in like high esteem. There will be it would be like a ceremonial, like
Will there be a statue?
I don't know about statue, but it would be like a celebratory, thank you, gratitude felt and farewell for him. I felt like Klopp has done a lot for us. Before he came, Liverpool was nowhere. Like we didn't even have any hope. Like if you mention Liverpool and any sort of title race or Champions League or anything, people were going to we're the laughing stock of the league at that time. But he came in and then I remember his first interview, when he was saying, "Oh, I'll turn you guys from doubters to believers." And since then, we've always been in contention. I think this first season, Europa League final, Carabao Cup final, straight in, we're competitive. You just made us competitive. We're going into every match, every season, believing that yes, we're in for at least even if we didn't win it, we're there to compete. So yeah, it's been like he has really put Liverpool. He has made our stock so high. It's been and like people from the city of Liverpool always said, "Oh, the man is like kind of like embodies the Liverpool spirit, that never die, always, picking up yourself up from, some sort of downfall." So yeah, he's been an amazing man. I'm glad, like, of course, I had some regrets, and I'm sure he himself will have some regrets looking back at his Liverpool career and say, "Oh, there were some things I could have done differently." Like some seasons where he would have felt, he would have been approached some games with a bit more caution, But at the end of the day, it is what it is, Well, that's life for you, Like we saw, you usually say, football doesn't like a fairy tale, or it doesn't care about your feelings, it is what it is. You just have to be ruthless when you have the chance.
Ask Chooks what happened in Vegas.
Exactly, and so, but at the end of the day, it is what it is.
Don't worry, Pius. There's still more twists and turns to come. Liverpool can see. If Marseille and Arsenal lose the next 3 games, then Liverpool win. Don't feel too down.
So there's no. So there's no. How will I put it now? There's no sort of like no regrets at the end of the day for clubs staying in Liverpool. So yeah,
Pius, you pay for that quadruple. I 1 for 4. That's bad.
Last 1 for 4. What does Tottenham have?
Bro,
For him to snap. Don't go back.
When was your last trophy, Tottenham? I'll tell you about 1 over 4.
You guys robbed us.
Adams has been waiting. See how happy.
that was 16 years ago, actually.
Wow, 18 years ago.
16 years ago. They won the Carling Cup.
Wow.
It's a very prestigious trophy. That's what Pius is living with this season. He's sending off Klopp. So it's a trophy with heritage.
That's the least prestigious trophy in England.
Guys.
Okay, so it's time to move on to Chelsea. Let's talk.
Yeah, bro.
Let's talk all things Chelsea. Santi, I can see you're rubbing your hands. No?
Can we start with the midweek, please?
Why are we starting with midweek?
Yeah. Pius, who did play midweek?
Why are we starting with midweek? That result. No. We started about it's the weekend. review.
Let Pius is hosting. Pius, please.
Of course, there were some. Chelsea was involved in a midweek game.
Just remember time.
Yeah, we've not had the chance to to dissect the game. So I'm going to start with. Who do I start with now? Okay, Adams, you are the Chelsea fan. Before they begin to pile on you.
Wait, what game are you asking me for first? Aston Villa. I'm only here to talk about Aston Villa, Chelsea 2-2.
No, come on. Ask the host.
No.
Let him ask the questions.
Okay. Adams, I know you don't want to talk about that game. Okay, let me ask you about. So Chelsea now, for the season is kind of just whittling out, nothing to play for anymore. Or are you still having hopes of maybe Conference League or Europa League? I don't know. So there's not much ambition for Chelsea. So my question to you would be: I know you said you are not backing Poch, you don't want him to stay at Chelsea this next season. Of course you have not changed. I wanted to say have you changed your mind, but I don't think you've changed your mind. And if you've not changed your mind, who are you looking for Chelsea to hire? Because I've seen some Chelsea fans argue, they don't want the Zerbi, they want Tuchel back. So for you, what do you want?
Man, it's hard because the kind of names I've been seeing us linked to, man, I don't even know. For sure not De Zerbi, because he just got piped 3-0 away at Bournemouth. He's below us. How are we going to sack our coach and replace him with a coach that a team that is below us? So definitely not De Zerbi. I don't know, man. Maybe Amorim. Amorim might be the likeliest choice for me.
Okay. And your thoughts on the game yesterday, Aston Villa to Chelsea 2?
It was a classic tale of game of two halves, man. That first half gave me flashback of the Arsenal game. I thought he was going to get worse, but the second half it gave me a little more courage. It was a lot more positive. I liked what Pochettino did in terms of inverting Cucurella, and I think Modric, man, especially Chuks and Uzo, they've tried to convince me about this guy, man, but I don't know. I've tried. I've really tried. I've given this guy a lot of time, and look, I don't know what to think about him anymore. He's just so disjointed from the team. No improvement since the first time I saw him. He still plays the same way since the first game. He hasn't improved. And we had guys like Noni. You see Noni, there's something in there. He has a lot of things to work on. His attitude, in-game management, positioning. But you know that you know what to get from him. But Modric, sometimes it just feels like we're playing a man shots whenever we play with Modric. Yesterday, the left-hand side was totally ineffective. The players don't even trust him. You see, a lot of times they don't pass to him. They just decide because he's always putting us in danger. And if you see what Pochettino did, we had nobody to sub on in place of him until the 80th minute. He just isolated him on the left-hand side and to just hug the touchline, and he wasn't doing anything. So, man, you guys have tried to convince me about this guy. I really don't know. Maybe you should have just let him go to us now. But
Big Santi, I saw you were rubbing your hands.
Bro, see, Modric situation, sorry. It's so sad, but I think Chelsea got what they deserve, to be honest. I mean, they 100% got what they deserve. They got new owners who had never been in football before. And for me, during those Modric deals, and I don't think they had proper structure in place to decide which player they need in the team, which player they should be signing. And they were just going for the buzz of the moment. Whichever player is hot topic in the transfer market, Chelsea is there. And the Modric thing came out of nowhere. They were never linked to him. It's been Arsenal and Brentford. It was Brentford in the summer and Arsenal ahead of the winter transfer window. And Chelsea just came out of nowhere. Paid the money and even paid some fund into the Ukraine-Russia war to get Modric to Stamford Bridge, whatever. And they saved us, man, to be honest. I know some Arsenal fans believe if Modric had come to Arsenal, it would have been twice the player, but nah, I don't think so.
Arteta saves players now.
Nah, see, forget that nonsense, right? There's a point. I think there was a point that we had that, luxury of time to save players, to develop players, we could see what Havertz saving did to us in the first half of the season, where we are having to experiment him here and there to see where he fits in best, But Mudryk coming into this Arsenal team then wasn't what we really needed. I think the talent is there, don't get me wrong, but it needs a lot of coaching. It needs a lot of babysitting. Its footballing IQ is laughable. And then we found ourselves in the middle of an unexpected title race. Nobody was expecting us to compete for the title last season. And there was no backup for Martinelli. There was no competition for Saka. We need someone that can come in and make an instant impact. But I think signing Mudryk for that money then, I don't think it would have made that instant impact. The impact Trossard had on our season last season, I don't think Mudryk could have done half of that. Because some of the decisions this guy makes, bro, some of the decisions he makes I was watching it comes from yesterday's game, and it was so heartbreaking how he was out there. I don't think, as much as I believe environments contributes to how he's playing, I believe some of it is down to him himself as well. I just think he needs a lot of time, and he's not young anymore. He's 24. Suggesting loan for a 24-year-old that was signed for over 60 million is ridiculous. So massive thank you to Chelsea for taking him off our hands and allowing us to get Trossard for.
So if we offer him for half the price, you won't take him.
I also be like, nah. Some Arsenal fans will take him anyways.
Gladly take him off our hands. No,
deal with it. I mean, he made his choice. He has to live with it.
Price, just like Jesus Christ, he paid, he washed away my sins. So
He needs to live with the decision, and you guys need to live with it as well.
I want to get your perspective on Chelsea. I think some episodes back, right? I think when we're talking about Chelsea, I know you mentioned, I think you correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you mentioned where you said somewhere around, like, you look at that Chelsea squad, like the squad of players that they have, like especially the additions they made, Nkunku, Ramolavia, Enzo Fernandez, Caicedo. It feels like the talent is there. Like they have some sort of, like they have like a core of like talented players there. But there's something that is missing. I just want to get your.
But we haven't even seen the players that you mentioned. We've not seen Nkunku or Lavia this season.
Yeah,
but they are good.
they are good. So I just want to ask you. So is it that they need some sort of like luck with injuries, a decent manager, and who knows? Maybe next season Chelsea could be challenging for.
They have a decent manager. They do.
They do.
If we're gonna judge Pochettino only on if we're gonna judge, so everyone's laughing, and that's why I love football, because the same person who was banging on context just laughed because he's having one bad season with a squad that underachieved before he came. We're gonna disregard every other season that he's had in the Premier League.
No, but that doesn't take. He's not.
So how is me saying he's a decent manager laughable?
Okay.
So you're telling me that if we look back on history, Pochettino is not a decent manager?
Okay, he's decent.
But I think Chelsea needs more than decent manager.
He's not what we need. He's not what we need.
I agree. The culture fit is different. I told you that. I said it's a bad marriage. But Pius asked, do they need a decent manager? I'm like, they have a decent manager.
No, you didn't answer it well. Then that's not. You get the context of what Pius was saying. We don't need much.
So my thing is, the culture fit is wrong from the ownership. It has nothing to do with the manager.
It does.
The ownership.
You know why?
Ownership don't get the club either.
You know why? He has something.
That's why they appointed him.
You know what?
And the guy they appointed before him was also not a cultural fit.
Yeah, everybody agrees that the owners should bear the majority of the responsibility. But you look at a team like Arsenal or Man City, and you see the coaches that they have, Arteta and Pep. It feels like they are in control of every single thing in the team, even if the owners don't agree. Managers. Yeah, even if the owners don't want it to happen.
Well, Arteta is a former player, former captain, and Pep.
Exactly. That's where they got you wrong. That's where they got you wrong. Now
I'm saying that's whatever cultural fit, right? Doesn't have anything to do with Poch. He didn't hire himself. The people that have gotten all the hiring wrong are the same people that are going to hire the next guy.
Yeah.
Right. And it's because they don't understand your club and they don't know what you guys are about. So they don't know the criteria and even selecting a manager. But back to what Pius was saying, yeah, there's a lot of talented players that are there, right? The players that are on the pitch right now are not that talented, but there's a lot of talented players that are on sick note. If they obviously their season would be different if they had the likes of Reece James, Nkunku, Lavia all available throughout the entirety of the season. Don't forget Fofana, who also got injured. Who else did they lose? I think they lost Robert Sanchez for. Even though people might feel Petrovic is better, I think Petrovic is trash. But whatever. No, let's be real. Like, come on. I think we've seen enough now to say there's a reason why he was
He's
signed for what
definitely
he
not
was signed
Chelsea
for.
standard. He's not.
Right. So
by any means.
we know there's talent there somewhere in the building, right? They're either not healthy or they're not performing, whatever. But I think the issue does go back down to, do the owners really understand where they want to take the club to? What is the project? Because if you're going to go hijack all of Brighton's staff and their scouts and you're going to copy their system, then that means you want to achieve what they achieved. And what did they achieve really? You know, Conference League, top half of the table finishes. It's no surprise that that's the level that Chelsea have found themselves at. That's what you hired. That's what you paid for. So for me, I think next season, obviously, they won't struggle with as many injuries. And you would think that the continuity of this season, and they have had some good performances. We can all be honest. Even the Villa performance, that was a good performance. They played well against City across both legs. I think the first leg against Arsenal was actually very competitive, and they were unlucky to tie that game. They smashed us at our own ground. They showed a lot of maturity there. So it's not like a team that has shown absolutely nothing. They almost got to 2 cup finals and got to 1 semifinal. So it's like it's a mixed bag. Like, how do you really analyze this team? Because there's potential. They've shown some things, and they can only get better because they will get more players back. And I'm sure they will still sign some more players. So it's like, are they going to be as bad this season as they were this season? I don't think so. But at the same time, I don't see how the manager survives, because there's just a disconnect with the fan base. They don't like him. I don't think he's their style. I don't think he's exactly fits their culture. He's not a winner. You know what I mean? So I think they have a lot of problems fixing their culture first before they even worry about on the pitch. But I'm just glad they did me a favor. I needed that 1 point from Villa, man. I needed that bad. Thank you for that.
I'm about to take it back from you, though. I'm about to take it back from you.
Oh, yeah, we play you guys midweek.
Yeah.
Yes, Chelsea Tottenham on Thursday, yes.
Recovery.
Okay, guys. So because of time, some final bits, right? I wanted to ask you guys about VAR, right? So there's this debate, right? I don't know if you guys saw the news. Like, I think they said the Sweden, is it Sweden? They voted they voted against VAR, so they are not going to be using VAR in their league maybe next season or so. I just wanted to get you guys' perspective on what you think about VAR. I know Premier League said from next season or so they're going to be bringing the semi-automated VAR. That's the one they use in the Champions League, which I feel is more accurate than the current one. But there are some people with the school of thought that VAR should be removed totally from the Premier League, like should be taken off.
Big Ange thinks.
Yeah, I think, and also some other managers as well. I don't know. I just want to get your perspective on what you guys think. Should VAR be taken off or?
It's nonsense. Like, for me, I mean, people that think it should be taken off, absolute nonsense. Without VAR today, Spurs are not getting that penalty. Without VAR today, the first goal they scored would have been given incorrectly. The problem is not VAR is just a technology, right? The problem for me is not the VAR, it's the incompetent people in charge of the technology. So why are we attacking? Imagine people, okay, Spurs versus Liverpool first leg, for example.
Yeah.
These people had technology in place to prevent human errors. And they came out to tell us the nonsense that happened in that game was human error. Imagine the horrendous decisions that are being made in the Premier League every single week, even with the help of this technology. Imagine how bad it will be without this technology in place.
We don't even have to imagine. Just go back and remember. Open your memories.
Bro,
like, we remember how it was before. It was terrible.
Liverpool wouldn't have won that Champions League.
We don't have to go back. We don't have to go back. Look at the championship. They don't use VAR.
Yeah.
And I think a few weeks ago, someone literally scored with his hand. And they didn't get that. If there was VAR, that goal wouldn't have stood.
Yes.
So it doesn't make sense to me when people come. I don't think it doesn't make sense, honestly. I don't
Yeah.
think we
I think I agree as well. I agree as well. People are just being a bit emotional. I saw the United Coventry FA Cup semi-final where the Coventry would have won the game 4-3 without VAR. And then
it would have been unfair.
Yeah. Because I saw people now dunking on VAR and say, oh, they are protecting the big teams. And I think
because they want their fairy tale. Yeah.
And I think there's this thing going on in England, right? Where like there's this the fans of other clubs that are not in the big six are now having like, oh, it's the big six versus us. So it now feels like, oh, there is this, oh, they get more of the decisions, this and that, and then there is a big six conspiracy. They run the Premier League.
They should go to Spain then, but because sorry, just my last bit on that. Because when it comes to TV right allocation in the Premier League, I don't think there's any other league in Europe that is as fair.
The only reason they make money
as the Premier League. That's the only reason they make money. So I don't get this big six nonsense.
Yeah.
The only reason Brentford can be raising shoulder with the likes of Valencia and Atletico for players is because of the money that City and Chelsea and Arsenal are allowing them to get.
Exactly. So
see Adams. You take pride in. Adams had nothing. Adams will take anything these days, any appreciation. Put money in your pockets.
I mean, Pius, just to add to the VAR discussion,
Shooks, don't say it. Don't. I know you're about to cook rubbish.
No, I'm not gonna care anything. Just as someone who keeps up with American sports, one thing I would like to see is when the decisions are made, I would like them to actually do the audio live. Like, in the NFL, you actually hear the ref say why was he thinking what he did, and he looked at the audio and he explains why. Is he a foul? Is he a penalty? And everyone in the stadium hears it, because I think the commentators hear the VAR discussion. Make that public, and it makes people to be more. You're going to do your job better because now 60,000 people.
I noticed they started showing the live feed of the VAR room. Did y'all notice that?
Yeah.
Yes, a couple times. Yeah. That's a good step.
Let's hear the audio. Let's not only see it. Let's hear what they are communicating. Let's understand how the ref is thinking. That will make people a little bit more confident, in the people. And also, if everybody is watching you do your job,
there's more pressure, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's more pressure because these decisions cost people titles.
Yes.
But for me, it's like if you have bad grammar, right, and you write a poor letter where you misspell a lot of words and it doesn't make sense, and then the next day you're gifted a computer which helps you autocorrect your spelling, but because you have poor grammar, you still use the wrong words, but at least your spelling is better. And they're like, yeah, remove computers. No, go back to writing letters. It's like, I have bad grammar. These guys are incompetent at their job. They've been given a tool to help them do their job better, but they're so incompetent, they actually incorrectly apply the tool itself. So what we need is more competence and not less technology. That doesn't make any sense for me.
You cooked with that one, Izzo. You cooked with that one.
Yeah. Great analogy there, man. Great one.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't have said it better.
Absolutely. Okay, so guys, finally, the semifinals of the Champions League this
man, nobody watches that competition.
Yeah, bro, we're not in semifinals.
Premier League has left now. Pius, come on, respect yourself.
I'll
predictions.
Pius, I'll rather talk about how Badia Shoot had a reaction at full time. And he showed some emotion.
But I thought sports fans were going to, shamelessly support Kane, and if he wins that trophy, they're going to claim it and celebrate.
Nope. Listen, the overwhelming. Let me give you an insight to what we think. Of course, we supported Bayern over Arsenal because, again, hatred for Arsenal trumps whatever. But most Spurs fans don't want him to win anything at all.
Okay, fair enough.
I personally don't want him to win.
Fair enough.
Come back to this.
Every Spurs, because the thing is now, if Kane wins, Eric Dyer wins.
Then it would be like, Spurs was the problem.
No.
Eric Dyer with the Champions League is going to dunk on both Arsenal.
I'm not yet to see pictures of Eric Dyer.
Chips will be there.
Yeah, I think
Ala Madrid.
I mean, it's for me personally.
Ala Madrid.
Me personally, I'm a huge Mbappe fan. I want Mbappe to win the Champions League. I want him, and the thing is, ultimately, I want Mbappe to win the Ballon d'Or. So
that's true, man. I
anything
don't see
I
names
want him to win the
I don't
Champions
see
League.
names like Saka on our list.
yes, or Bellingham.
I want Mbappe to win it at PSG because I think that would be a nice fairy tale ending. But
Yeah,
the thing
absolutely.
about football is
He doesn't care about it.
he's going to leave with nothing.
All right, guys. Okay, so I think that's it.
Yes. I want everyone to predict who's going to win the title from here on out. Just like a quick, who do you think is winning it?
Okay. all
I'm
right.
curious. I'm curious where certain people stand.
Okay, Adams, you're the neutral. Who do you think is winning it?
Who do I think?
Yeah.
And then from this point,
From this point, man, it's hard to bet against it.
City have 4 games, but they have to play us at our stadium. That's very bad for
It's so difficult, man.
Yeah.
Me, I have my answer already.
Man, go to Chooks, man.
I back my boys, man. I back my boys.
Of course.
Mind you, Chooks considered the league 2 weeks ago, but
Bro, that's what I'm saying.
football is full of
And,
interesting twists and turns.
How does it go? In the midst of it was all over.
And I found
We are so back. I back my boys. If I don't back my boys, who will?
Yeah, I think personally, I think there's a twist. There's still a twist, and I think Arsenal will win it.
Who is this guy, man?
I think Arsenal. I think even though I'm going to dread Arsenal winning it, I think Arsenal is going to win it. I just feel like
For me, I think City draw away at Tottenham. Arsenal win the remaining of their game, and Arsenal win on goal difference.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's wicked.
Buka chef. Let's go. That's good. Hey.
Also,
Hey man, me, I'm a Tottenham fan in the week's
Bro,
time.
I'm so
Give me a
shameless.
white shirt.
come on, you
Support Tottenham. Shamelessly.
Spurs.
how do you feel when you see Tottenham beat Man City to hand Arsenal the title?
Man,
Truth is not going to come on the show.
That's gonna be something that they're gonna sing at our fans for years to come if that happens. The way they sing about them winning the league at our ground. We can honestly, I don't know what discussions happen at the upper reaches of football, but I can imagine the chairman and the manager have to be thinking, we can't beat City and allow if we get to that day,
I don't
Arsenal haven't lost.
No, they don't care about that. Nah.
They don't care about that, man.
No, they don't care about that.
I feel like Abramovich would care. I feel like owners like that care about
Especially when you still have top 4 to play for. I don't think they care about it.
If I own the team, I will go in there right now. Because in NFL, right? In NFL, owners literally tell the manager, tank this season, lose every game this season.
Wow.
So we can get a high draft pick.
Wow.
Right? There's actually recorded conversations between them. I'm going in there and I'm telling the manager, if I see one first team player on the lineup, you are fired.
Nah,
you can't do that, man. You can't do that
You can't do that
because it's football, man. It just comes back
I think players can do it individually, on their own. There was this Conor Cody moment against Liverpool where he had a clear header in the middle of a title running, and the miss was unbelievable.
Like Chris Wood today.
We saw Chris Wood today. Bro, I was watching that game. I didn't even know he was a City fan.
Guy made
I was
a
watching the game and I said, nah, this guy is being intentional.
He is.
for real.
Yes, they found a tweet of
I
his.
saw the tweets, but that doesn't mean he's a City.
No, that means is a man that
Oh no, wait.
forfeit his paycheck.
He did dunk on them last season though. Remember, he's the one that scored the equalizer at the City Ground last year.
Yeah, against Man City. Yeah.
I think
Maybe he's just trash.
man. If you're professional, those things don't come through your head, man. Once you start to work for, it's just like you, Santi, as huge as an Arsenal fan you are. If you start to work for Chelsea and your money's on the line, brother, you're not caring about Arsenal winning the title. I assure you.
You think so?
Nah, he would care. Look at that thing that's behind him right now. You think the one that has that?
With money on the line.
See,
with
Adam,
money
that's
on the
why
line,
Chelsea is where they are.
Well,
You have spent money.
be-
You cannot
honest.
buy loyalty.
with
You
money on
can't
the
buy
line.
loyalty.
Bro,
Yeah, depends on what's at stake. I mean, if I,
Bro, you guys don't care. You guys don't care about your team, man. With money on the line.
for example, if
Do you think everybody that works for every team is a fan of the team?
You think everybody is like Igalo? See his mouth. Everybody's like Igalo.
Remember last season, Theo Walcott, he scored against you guys.
But he was trying to miss, though. He was trying to miss.
Nah,
That's hard.
that's the chance he had. He missed it on purpose. That second chance he missed it on purpose.
If you're a competitor, man, only a handful of people will do that on purpose, I think.
see Adam, for
If you've
me,
been competing since you were a kid, now, it's not like they're just throwing you in there as a fan.
for me,
If you've been a competitor since you're a kid, it's hard to turn that off. I don't think.
I think football is really deep, like really, really deep. For me, if I happen to be a professional footballer, I'm an Arsenal fan, I'm playing for Chelsea. Arsenal are about to win the league. Chelsea have nothing to play for. Bro, Arsenal are winning the league.
I don't think.
If it depends on
think
me,
you do that.
except we're playing for something.
You're just talking like that because you're a fan.
Okay.
Man, please ship me Tottenham jersey.
Bro, I can assure you, even if it's your brother that goes to Chelsea, you are supporting your brother with all your life against Chelsea. When there's a personal interest vested, all this fan stuff.
I disagree. We've seen too many examples that loyalty or allegiance does play a role in football. It does.
I think if it does, it's minimal.
Yes, of course. There's only so much influence you have.
Let me give one example. Antonio came out, I think, on a podcast a few weeks ago, and he was saying his agent is an Arsenal fan. So that game last season or a few seasons ago where he scored against us? It was last season. So that's West Ham game against Arsenal. And he said after the game, his agent called him and was cursing him out. And he said, bro, you're supposed to be looking after me. We are in the middle of a relegation fight, and you rather your club win the league than your, client escape relegation. So I think the loyalty in football is way, way deeper than that. Nobody will come out to admit it, but it's really deep.
We're going to find out in a few weeks' time, right? No, it's not far away.
We're all wearing white.
Man, you.
I'm not scared of Bournemouth than Man United right now. I'm not even.
No, you guys will destroy Bournemouth. It's at the Emirates as well. Like, come on. Yeah. Our last hope rests in the hands of
the most Arsenal thing to happen is.
Don't say it.
Okay.
Let's
speak your mind. Santi, speak your mind.
Santi, don't say it.
You know what?
Those two twins right beside you. Let's end it like this.
Guys, our time is fast spent. We need to end the show at this point. Next week I would like us to discuss on the Ballon d'Or, the rankings and how it's decided, who are like the top contenders, does the Euros and the Copa
Christian
America.
Romero is not on the list, then it's an invalid list.
So I would like to get your take on what you think. But this is where we end today's episode of the show, right? Thank you so much, guys. Big Santi, thanks for coming. Glad to have you. It was nice having you on. Hopefully for your sake, even though it pains me to say, but hopefully for your sake, Arsenal goes on to win the Premier League after 20 years. My younger brother is an Arsenal fan, so I'll be celebrating with him if Arsenal wins it. Chooks.
I'm Uzo's younger brother. I will celebrate.
I wish
when Arsenal handles the league, we celebrate.
Viva Garnacho! Viva Garnacho!
Thank you for joining. Like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. And catch us on Spotify for the audio version. See you guys soon.